Good evening to all and welcome to the session, the Hindu Editorial Analysis for Proficiency in English. Let us start the session with a nice quote. What is today's quote? Don't limit your challenges, challenge your limits. Usually we try to limit our challenges, but don't do that. Always challenge your limits, then you can achieve a lot and you can go to a different level altogether. If you limit your challenges, you'll be at a lower level. If you challenge your limits, then you go to a higher level. A very useful quote, extremely useful. Do remember. Let us go to the tone of the editorial. But before that, what is this editorial about? And today's editorial is an important editorial. It is all about 2047, the vision to make India a developed country. Based on that, the tone of the editorial is mostly positive and forward looking because at 2047 that goes into future. How and before we go to the editorial, let us have a look at the words from today's editorial. Some words are very important. The very first one, virtue. I've given many a time two words. One is virtue, the other one vice. But generally we use these words in the plural form. When we talk about a particular person, we talk about his virtues and vices. Virtue means a good habit or an admirable quality. So, virtues, admirable qualities, vices, bad qualities. Blueprint, a complete plan that explains how to do or develop something. There are two meanings blueprint. The literal meaning, when you want to construct a particular building and you have a print that talks about the plan of the building, that is also known as blueprint. But modern English usage, we use it to refer to a complete plan to achieve success that explains how to do or develop something, a particular project, whatever it is. We'll be completing, that's right. Unveil, we have got many a time. Here, virtue, noun, blueprint, noun. Unveil is a verb. Show or announce publicly for the first time. To make something, to reveal to the public, to launch something, and to announce publicly. Usually, this goes with products and also policies. And in this context, plans. A roadmap. Blueprint, roadmap, usually they go hand in hand. Part of speech, noun, a plan or strategy intended to achieve a particular goal. Again, it refers to a strategy. You want to become an officer, you need a roadmap. You should know the roadmap. And you should have a blueprint. Both are required. A strategy intended to achieve a particular goal. Brainstorm I use quite often. This goes more with when it comes to essay writing. Before writing an essay or an article, you have to go for brainstorming session. Here it has been given hold a group discussion to produce ideas. This goes with the private sector. When you take the managers, imagine, good evening to all of you. If you take a private sector company, they have a problem, then all the top people, for that we use the word top brass, means the top officials, the top managers, they sit together, they go for the brainstorming session, and they try to, whatever ideas come, they allow those ideas to come and they make a note. First round. Second round, they keep whatever is relevant, they strike off whatever is not relevant. And from them, from those ideas, they take the best one and they think that is a solution. Hold a group discussion to produce ideas or solutions, especially an important one. Blind spots. Actually, this goes with drivers, especially those who drive a four wheeler, an area where a person's view is obstructed. Usually, we see straight and drive. Sometimes a person comes at right angle from here, very difficult to see that person. That spot is called blind spot. And blind spots are very dangerous when it comes to driving. In this context, blind spot means an area that could become a bottleneck or a hindrance or an impediment. Hue has two meanings. One is color or shade. Different hues, different brainchild, a different meaning altogether. Someone's idea, you call it a brainchild. Here, hue, color, one meaning, shade, another meaning. And when it comes to colors or shades, usually I say one word I use, subtle. Here, B is silent. Subtle difference when it comes to the shades means what? Subtle means a slight. The letter B is silent. And blip, usually it goes with technology, an unexpected, minor, and typically temporary deviation from a general trend. But in this context, going off the track, you are on the track, sometimes you deviate a little, then you have to use the word blip, plural blips, noun. Hark back, an important phrasal verb. Mention or remember something from the past. You think of something from the past, then it is called harking back, going back and thinking of the past. Hasten, part of speech, verb, but can be used as an adjective. Be quick to do something. You can also think of the phrasal verb speed up and also an important word expedite. Expedite means what? Speed up something. Abandon, part of speech verb, cease to support or look after someone. But here, desert someone. Here it is used as a verb. And the word desert can be a noun, can be a verb. As a noun, you all know, but as a verb, it means when someone is in need of you people, you don't help that person, then we say you have deserted that person. And abandon. Usually it goes with people, it also goes with things. Imagine someone goes to a village, his vehicle, some problem, breakdown, but no mechanic around. Then he abandons the vehicle and goes back to the city. She has been abandoned by her family. Another example. Black swan. Usually people say swan, not correct pronunciation. Swan, black swan. Actually, it's a bird, but here black swan means an unpredictable or unforeseen event, typically one with extreme consequences. It has a negative connotation. Unpredictable, unforeseen, with extreme consequences or negative consequences. Laudable, we have got many a time, part of speech adjective, deserving praise. For that, we also use a word, I am sure you guys remember, commendable. Commendable job, commendable work means what? Praiseworthy. You should also think of praiseworthy. Coming to warrant, arrest warrant, there it is a noun, but here warrant is a verb. To make a particular activity necessary, something, a situation demands something, then we say the situation warrants something, means it demands. These are the words from today's editorial. Let us go to the editorial. An important editorial you have to read twice, thrice. You may get in the exam as a passage, one of the dimensions, sooner or later. Virtues of planning. Planning is always useful. Based on that, virtues of planning. And planning related to what? On the Vision India at 2047 plan. But what is the main idea of this editorial? The blueprint to develop India by 2047 must factor in. Must, we have got so many times. Two functions. First one, personal obligation or obligation imposed by the speaker. Second one, to convey the idea that something is compulsory. And here, factor in means consider, must consider, must factor in critical governance reforms. They must consider important governance reforms. Only then it is going to take place. How does it start? In early 2024, Prime Minister Narendra Modi is expected to. We expect someone, active voice, present tense, someone is expected to do something, present tense, passive voice. In early 2024, Prime Minister Narendra Modi is expected to unveil, make public, a roadmap to transform the country into a developed nation with a 30 US trillion, US dollars 30 trillion economy by the time it completes 100 years of independence. 1947 to 2047, completion of 100 years of independence. But here there's one important word. They want to transform, change the country into a developed nation. Today, if you take India, when people write about India, refer to India, they use two words. One is they call India a third world country. Have you heard of this? India is known as a third world country, and they also say a developing country, not a developed nation, developing country. Developing country easy to understand, but when it comes to the expression third world country, then you should ask yourself, you should wonder what is the first world, what is the second world, and India comes under third world. What does it mean? If you take the first world, industrially developed capitalist countries, they are known as first world. For example, the US, the UK, France, they come under first world, industrially developed and also capitalist countries. Private sector is the most important thing. Second world, industrially developed communist countries, where the public sector is the most important, not the private sector. Former USSR and many Eastern European countries, they belong to the second world. India is a third world country. What does it mean? Either developing or underdeveloped socialist countries. That is a combination of private sector and public sector. For example, today, if you take banks, we have banks in the public sector, we have banks in the private sector. So, third world countries, usually Latin American, African, Southeast Asian countries, they come under third world countries. And here they want to transform India from a developing country into a developed country, developed nation. For that, they have a vision. And what is the timing? Completion of 100 years of independence. And that vision is known as what? 2047, at 2047 plan. The Vision India at 2047 plan. This is a name given to the project or the plan, whatever. The Vision India at 2047 plan, as it is officially named, has been in the works for nearly 2 years. That means they have been working on this for the last 2 years with officials across ministries. Many ministries they must have involved, brainstorming on how to take the country from its current level of development to where it aspires to be. So they have been doing the groundwork for the last 2 years, and ministries across officials across ministries, different departments have been brainstorming. Brainstorming means what? To have group discussions, to allow different ideas to pop up and only accept important ones on how to take the country from its current level to the level of development to where it aspires to be. That means what is the aspiration here? To become a developed nation. And who is working behind doors? The Niti Aayog, in the process of giving this vision document a final shape. Who is going to give the final shape? Niti Aayog. It is in the process of giving this vision a final shape. Will soon run its central ideas and goals past top minds across sectors. This is an important expression. I don't know how many of you could understand. Will soon run its central ideas and goals past top minds across sectors. It means, imagine generally a person wants to go from this side to this side, and there's a building over here. Generally, we say he crossed the building. He crossed the building. But native speakers say he went past. He went past the building. Here will soon run its central ideas and goals past top minds across sectors. Means that Niti Aayog is going to present the vision and all these ideas, goals to the top minds across sectors, those who belong to the different sectors, including World Bank President Ajay Banga, Apple Chief Tim Cook, as well as Indian industrialists and thought leaders to fine tune them and factor in any blind spots. So, why should they expose this vision or the ideas and goals to the top people across sectors to make sure all these people go through? And if at all there are some deficiencies, lacunae, loopholes, or blind spots, they are going to consider and make sure that everything is foolproof. That is the idea behind. But here the writer has used thought leaders, and important. Who are these thought leaders? Whenever we talk about a particular country, Any country, we use a term elite. Elite means the cream of a society, the rich and the famous. But on the other hand, if you take a particular country, a country has intellectuals of the highest order. Intellectual means a knowledgeable person, a learned person, a scholar. All these intellectuals of the top caliber, together we use one word. They are known as intelligentsia. And we say intelligentsia of a country. So this sentence talks about presenting the ideas, goals to the intelligentsia of the country, the top people in different sectors, the intellectuals, the thought leaders, all these people, successful people, they are going to, what is the objective behind? To fine tune them and factor in, consider any blind spots, any loopholes. Coming ahead of the Lok Sabha election, now it talks about the timing. Coming, when are the Lok Sabha elections next year, 2024? Coming ahead of Lok Sabha election means before Lok Sabha elections, the plan may well be viewed as a government's policy playbook promise for prospective voters. Now you can look at this vision India. What is the official name for this? It says a vision India at 2047. The vision India at 2047. There are two ways of looking at it. One, positive attitude, highly appreciable, admirable, and you should be proud of, happy about the idea. But on the other hand, negative stand. You may suspect the government. There is every possibility. What is the reason? Elections are fast approaching, and usually the incumbent government tries to attract the electorate or the voters, and they try to come up with a lot of schemes. And the timing matters a lot. Last time also we had one editorial based on that. Before elections, they talk about this particular plan or vision. Definitely they can easily attract prospective voters. So the plan may well be viewed as a government's policy playbook promise for prospective voters. It could be considered a political stunt to get advantage in elections. But frankly speaking, a very good vision. But irrespective of electoral outcomes, whatever is going to happen, whichever government is going to come into existence or form, whichever party is going to form, but irrespective of electoral outcomes, future governments would do well to keep an earnest outlook towards the broad agenda. Earnest means a sincere. Whichever government is going to come, whichever party is going to form the government, they should they would do well to keep an earnest outlook, means sincere outlook towards the broad agenda. India's rise. Now it talks about where is India right now, or way back in 1991, where it is right now, where it wants to be down the line by 2047. India's rise from 1991, when it accounted for 1.1% of the global economic output, to the 3.5% share it now commands as the world's fifth largest economy, has been driven by governments of varying political hues, largely sticking to the reform and liberalization agenda. Now, there has been progress from 1.1 to 3.5, and from 1991 to the present time. A lot of governments came and went. All these governments, they have been on the same track, has been driven by governments of varying political hues, different political parties, largely sticking to the reform and liberalization agenda initiated by PV Narasimha Rao. That time Manmohan Singh was the prime minister. PV Narasimha Rao was the finance minister. Manmohan Singh, PV Narasimha Rao, the prime minister, and they initiated the liberalization reforms. And from then, no looking back. India has been progressing, but now it talks about blips. Blips in the pace and vigor of reforms have also been visible across governments. We always come across ups and downs. Blips in the pace means speed, and vigor, strength of reforms have also been visible across governments, including the present coalition independent regime. Right now, what is the regime? Current government, coalition independent. It is not a coalition government, coalition independent regime, the present one. And now also we see, especially on the trickier changes needed in factor markets such as land and labor. These are the two areas it touches, and it talks about the blips. Blips means what? Deviating from the normal course. Again, coming back to the plan, the final plan should have some ideas to help navigate such challenging reforms and ensure policy certainty for global investors keen to bet on India's growth story. Now, what happens here? A particular plan or a particular vision, if it is not consistent, because the world watches, the world is watching. If we show them something that is consistent, then the global investors they come forward to invest. But if there's no certainty, there's no consistency, obviously global investors they will not be keen on investing. This sentence talks about that. The final plan should have some ideas to help navigate such challenging reforms and ensure policy certainty, consistency for global investors keen to bet on India's growth story. How can they do that? Minimizing the government's role to that of an enabler rather than a micromanager. Government should not be a micromanager, government should be an enabler. That's what it means. Is another detail that would be critical, important, especially as some recent decisions have marked a hark back to habits. Hark back means you think of the past, habits of the past, be it production linked incentives, import licensing, or overtly zealous taxation. So, all these not good in a way, the editorial opines. And it says it should not be a micromanager, it should be an enabler. Then you can expect the plan may become a reality. A stated focus area of the vision document that splices its action points and outcome goals into two periods. Now, how do they want to achieve this? They have a stated focus area of the vision document that splices, means splits its action points and outcome goals into two periods. What are the two periods? Focus, foci. Very good. 2030, from now till 2030, and the 17-year period from then, 2030 plus 17 till 2047, is to ensure that India does not slip into a middle income trap a few years from now. An important phrase. If they don't split or splice, then there's every possibility they may go a little off their track and they may not achieve what they want to achieve. To make sure it becomes a reality, the idea is to splice its action points and outcome goals into two periods. One from now till 2030, and from 2030 to 17-year period, that means till 2047, to ensure India does not slip into a middle income trap a few years from now. If they don't do that, India may get into or slip into that middle income trap a few years from now. You can also think of a few years down the line. That is also an important expression. To achieve what is required, that requires hastening the long pursued structural shift in the economy from farms to factories. So India has to move from farms to factories, one thing, and arresting a widening trend of income inequality. They have to reduce income inequalities. So two things are required to make it a reality. One, there should be a shift from farms to factories. We have to become the manufacturing hub. Till date, in the recent past, China, the manufacturing hub. Now, slowly, India is in the process of becoming, on the path of becoming the manufacturing hub of the world. So, farms to factories, arresting a widening trend of income inequality. It is not good. What is this? Please clarify, friends. Please focus on the analysis. Don't bring new questions. Don't go off their track. While the 5 year plans have been abandoned, when we got the independence, we started with 5 year plans. Now they have been abandoned, means no longer. We don't use 5 year plans. The 2047 plan must be revisited at suitable intervals. We have to visit regularly so that we can monitor and we can make sure we are on the track. The 2047 plan must be revisited at suitable intervals to recalculate goals based on evolving global trends and black swan events. So we have to look at the plan frequently, keeping in mind global trends and also black swan events, unforeseen events which may have negative consequences. How does the editorial end? Aiming for a high 9% growth rate between 2030 and 2047 is laudable, highly appreciable, but factoring in, considering alternative scenarios, alternative situations, and changing course when warranted, when required, when demanded is also advisable. When you have a plan and you have a goal here, you have a plan, sometimes what happens, you may come across hurdles and you have to make course correction. You may have to go a little off the track and to reach your goal. So it talks about we have to consider alternative scenarios and changing course when warranted, whenever it is required, demanded. That is also advisable. A very important editorial you may get as a passage, do remember, and read twice, thrice. Now let us go to questions based on this editorial to improve your reading comprehension skill. Read the first one and try to answer. What is the primary focus of the Vision India 2047 plan as discussed in the editorial? When you read a question, try to focus on keywords. Primary focus of the Vision India 2047 plan as discussed in the editorial. Reducing government intervention in the economy, increasing income inequality, maintaining the status quo in Indian governance, transforming India into a developed nation with a 30 trillion US dollars economy. Answer is the fourth option. Very good. What does the editorial suggest about the role of the government in the Vision India at 2047 plan? What does the editorial suggest about the role of the government? Government should be micromanage the economy. It should act as an enabler, clearly mentioned in the passage. It should increase taxation. It should maintain the status quo. Means same situation? No. Answer is what? B is the answer. It is based on explicit information. I don't see the response from your end. B. Very good. To prevent India from slipping into a middle income trap, what structural shift slipping into a middle income trap, what structural shift is mentioned in the editorial? A shift from industry to agriculture. It is like going back. A shift from services to agriculture. No. A shift from farms to factories. Clearly mentioned. A shift from factories to farms. No. That is reverse direction. According to the editorial, what should be revisited at suitable intervals in the Vision India 2047 plan? Tax rates, government spending, the plan itself, international trade agreements. Not tax rates, not government spending. What is the answer? The plan itself should be revisited, keeping in mind global trends and black swan events. Answer is C. There's a time lag. Good, very good. What is the suggested growth rate between 2030 and 2047 in the Vision India 2047 plan? Based on statistical data, easy to answer. It is not 3%, it is not 6%, it is not 12%, it is 9%, clearly mentioned in the editorial. These are the courses I offer. I'm offering right now grammar course, essay course is a live batch for civil services aspirants, English for banks, general English foundation course, any competitive exam. Please go through after the session. Now let us go to practice questions based on exam topics. The first 5 questions, error location. The country has adequate laws, but problems arise when these are not implemented in letter or spirit. So where is the error? The country has adequate laws, but problems arise. Thank you very much, Nagesh. Yes, I felt very happy when I went through the editorial. Excellent. One feels like reading twice, thrice. The country has adequate, the country, third person singular, has present tense, possession, adequate loss, no problem, but contrasting information. Problems arise, no problem. When these are not problems, plural, these are not implemented. When we don't implement these, active voice. When these are not implemented, passive voice, present tense. In letter or spirit, there is an error in the fourth part. What is the error? Not letter or spirit. We say in letter and spirit. It's a standard expression. In letter and spirit, what is written, what is objective behind, the spirit behind. So letter or spirit is not correct. In letter and spirit, that is the correct expression. No, 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 no. Or is not the right word. Ganesh has got it right. Letter and spirit. This is a standard expression. If you read the newspaper or any article related to constitution, law, should be implemented in, we say, letter and spirit. The management feels that the employees of the organization are non-product and do not want to work hard. The management feels that the employees of the organization are non-product and do not want to work hard. So where is the error? This is an easy one. First one, a bit difficult. No one has answered. Question number two should not take this long. Nothing wrong with the fourth part. Very good. Who is this? Pavan Kumar has got it right. Here, non product, absolutely wrong. Non productive. When we talk about employees, we say productive, non productive. Employees should be productive. So, what is the right word here? Productive, opposite, non productive. The management feels that the employees of the organization are non productive and do not want to work hard, obviously. The book called Voice of Millions was published earlier this year but is yet to be launched formally. This is not easy. You got to read meticulously. The book called Voice of Millions, was published earlier this year but is yet to be launched formally. Third one, you have to go to the third one. This is a challenging one. No one has answered question number three. Nagesh says no, no. Naidu says fourth part. No. There is no error whatsoever. Answer is no error. The book called Voice of Millions, there is a comma, there is a comma, was published. The book was published, past tense passive voice, earlier this year. Only this year we need to use present perfect. But earlier this year, past tense, was published earlier this year, but is yet to be launched formally. Yet to be launched in passive voice, nothing wrong. No clue as such. Answer is no error, Manasa. No error. See what happens here when you have to choose a fifth option, you got to be extremely confident, you got to be good at English, but still you should check once, twice each part. The book, no problem. Called Voice of Millions, no problem. Was published. Here you got to be a little careful. Usually I tell students this year, any time that indicates incomplete time, we should use present perfect, like today, this year, this month, this week. But here there's one word earlier this year that goes into past, but is yet to be launched. I told you guys many a time, if you ask a question, sentence, looks like a mini paragraph, small paragraph. I think there is a buffering only for a few seconds. Nothing to worry. Now it's okay, gone. The National Green Tribunal (NGT) has directed the Uttar Pradesh government to maintain vigil, being alert for illegal operation of the brick kilns to protect air quality in the national capital region. This is also a challenging one. The National Green Tribunal has directed, present perfect, no error, the Uttar Pradesh government, object, to maintain vigil, no problem, nothing wrong with. Uh, when you are not in touch with grammar, very difficult to answer these. After some time, you will be able to. No, nothing wrong with the second part. Who is that? Venkat Kiran. No, no. I'll give a clue. This is based on prepositional combination. There is an error in the third part. Who is that? Nagesh, Hema, and also Tripur. But what is wrong with the third part? Ah, very good. What is the right word? Hema. Vigil takes not the preposition for, it takes against or on. Vigil against illegal operation, vigil on illegal operation, not for. You can use against or on. So it is based on prepositional combination or fixed preposition. Yesterday, someone asked me about a mains exam tips, but at the fag end of the session, I told that person to remind me. It was a bit late, I suppose. Who asked me about mains exam tips for mains exam? Go to question number 5. This is also like a, a paragraph, lengthy sentence. Despite the threat of COVID-19 still looming large, an unusual pre-pandemic buzz marked the opening of the annual week-long Navratra Mela at Mata Shitla Devi Shrine here on Saturday. Dhananjaya, how to better score? See, when it comes to English mains, I think, okay, you have to be good at two things. One, reading comprehension skill. Second, vocabulary. And these two things you cannot get overnight. Yes, I do remember, but it was too late. I stopped streaming and I saw the message, but it was after when I stopped the streaming. After stopping, we cannot do anything. But because of the time lag, I could see that. Reading comprehension skill, vocabulary. And these two you cannot get overnight. Minimum 6 months, usually I tell students, to Sometimes I also say 9 months. And before the exam, what you have to do, you have to revise all the words you have learnt. Words revision is required. And also, you have to have created the acronym SLEEPs. And usually I give about 50 important topics. Those important topics are the topics in the limelight you have to go through. And every day before the exam, mains exam, for 15 minutes or 30 minutes, you have to take one previous year paper and you have to work and ask yourself how many marks you got, why you got more, why you got only a single digit. Analyze and try to work on your weakness. Have you answered this one? No one has answered question number 5. Despite the threat of COVID 19 still looming large, here usual, not correct, a usual pre pandemic buzz, not unusual, a usual. Ya sound, that is a consonantal sound. Based on that, we have to use the indefinite article a, not an. For example, an important, a unique person, not an unique person. Yeah. Answer, there's an error in the second part. Consolidation. See what happens when you prepare for competitive exams. You need one solid 1 year. And 1 year, usually what students, thank you very much, Divya, nice of you. Usually what happens, students, first they prepare for prelims. They wait for the result. They find the name or number, then they start mains preparation. Again, after that, they start interview preparation or GD preparation. This is a wrong approach. From day one, you should have a blueprint or a roadmap for 1 year. And from day one, you have to keep in mind all the stages and allot time accordingly. But your focus should be on mains because mains is the main hurdle. And main prelims, if you're good at grammar, you can clear. Thousands clear prelims, only a few clear mains. So, what is the hurdle when it comes to mains? Reading comprehension skill and vocabulary. And to become good at these two, you have to read the Hindu paper for 6 months to 9 months, and you have to revise regularly, develop awareness. Intellectually, you have to be rich. Only then you can handle mains. Overnight, not possible. And before the exam, what you have to do, you have to consolidate, revise all the words, consolidate, and make sure you have information about the current topics, topics in the limelight, burning issues, and make sure you have the vocabulary, related idioms, phrasal verbs, everything in place. Then easy to answer many questions and work on previous every day one previous year paper and analyze your marks, why you got more, why you got the single digit, and try to work on your weakness. This should be the approach. Now you have here 5 sentences, 5 words. Choose the appropriate word. Let us see how it goes. I had the task of cleaning up after the party. What task? Task. You need an adjective because task is a noun. Dhananjay, my student, online student. I had the peril task, deterring task, pragmatic task, contending task, unenviable task. So, what is the answer? And what is the task here? Cleaning up. Cleaning up is enviable or unenviable? No one envies cleaning up task. So, answer is my pleasure, unenviable task. So, what is the first one here? I never felt that my life was in I never felt that my life was in what? You need a noun here if you want to depend on grammar knowledge. But based on the words, you should be able to. Peril means danger. Manasa, that's right. Answer is I never felt that my life was in peril, was in danger. Very good. There are 3 world-class tennis players for this title. Doing what? fighting, trying, and a better word is what for the third one? There are three world-class tennis players contending. Very good. Contend means to compete, contending for this title. It has other meanings, but here in this context, compete. High prices are many young people from buying houses. High prices mean people get stopped. So, what is the word to be stopped, to be discouraged? High prices are deterring. Deter means to prevent someone from doing something. High prices are deterring many young people from buying houses. In business, the pragmatic approach. Pragmatic means what? Practical. In business, the pragmatic approach to problems is often more successful than an idealistic one. In business, one has to be practical. Better word, pragmatic. Who has got all the five correct? Then you should be happy. And today, phrasal verbs are not easy. Three are easy, two are confusing. If you get all the five correct here, you should be happy. Dogmatic, pragmatic, right. Try on, try out, take off, put on, pop in. All these go with shopping in a way. Context is shopping. Uh, Very good. Highly appreciable. That's very good. Manasa, Tripura Sundari, all the five. Please try to get five here, phrasal verbs. These are a bit, two are difficult. First one, if you get it right, then you can get all the five correct. First one is a deciding factor. First one is not a D. No, no, no. No one has got it right so far. Who is Nagesh has got it right. Try on means try a piece of clothing to see if it fits. Here, try on. E is the answer. Try out means test something to see if you like it. These two are very confusing. Try on, try it on means see if it fits. Try out, see if you like it. Both are different. Fit, like, two different concepts. After that, take off, easy. Take off means what? Remove. A is the answer. Put on means what? To wear. C is the answer. Pop in. Pop in means to visit briefly. Now answer my question. Who has got all the five correct here? Who has got all the five correct here? Oh, that has helped you. Shopping context. But in my opinion, try on, try out, not easy. Take off, put on, many students can answer. Pop in also easy to answer. Three, okay, no one has got all the five correct. That's what I said at the outset. And these are the words you got yesterday. Consolidation, try to answer quickly. Today, three also you should be happy, expected. But all the five outstanding. Stationary, I have brought the part of speech. Just you have to write the meaning. Then I will tick the word. Write the keyword. You don't have to write the complete. Who is this? Nagesh has got all the five. Very good. Highly appreciable. Good, Nagesh. Keep it up. Yes, yes, I've seen. Static. No movement at all. Very good. One word is enough. Horrific. Adjective, adjective. Causing horror. Creating horror. Fear. Causing fear. Very good. Indigenously. Developed indigenously. What does it mean? Terrific is a positive word. Terrible is a negative word. Terrify is a negative word. Here, horrific, terrify, not terrific. Terrific, positive word. Indigenously, locally, natively. Indigenous means local, native, original inhabitants, aboriginals, all the words you have to. Proactive. All the youngsters, you guys have to be proactive. Proactive means what? Already someone has written, I suppose. There's one student nowadays, she doesn't attend. I don't know why. She would answer immediately. To take the initiative. Very good. Do something based on the situation before you are told to do. Chronic, chronic disease, chronic malaria. What does it mean? Chronic disease, something that lasts for a long time or recurring. Panel to take someone onto the panel, but in the context of the editorial, to provide employment. Adi Lakshmi, you're right, recurring. To provide employment, Tripura Sundari, very good. Last for a long time, yes, Manasa. Nagesh, holistic approach, Naidu. For which one? Holistic approach means what? Considering all the dimensions, comprehensive, exhaustive, holistic, they all mean the same. A revamp, revamp means revamp, revitalize. No, no, only once it happened. Now there's no issue, Nagesh. Others are responding. And if at all there's a problem, I can make out. I myself will tell there's a problem for a few seconds. But right now, there's no issue. Because I see other students have been responding, there's no issue as such. Renovate, revamp, revitalize, make something better, bring back to the original standards, all these words you can think of. That's all for today. Thanks for being with me till the fag end of the session. I will see you guys tomorrow. Do remember to subscribe and share. Thank you. And those who are going to take the exam, all the best. And always remember any exam, prelims or mains, your philosophy should be if you come across a tough paper, tell yourself if it is tough for me, it is tough for everyone. And give your best. As simple as that. Thank you very much. Who is that? Manasa. Thank you. Nice.